Volume 1, Chapter 8. Thump. Thump. I walked through the dungeon slowly with Kim Young-chul. The stalactites all along the cave walls were sparkling. How do you feel about your first time visiting a dungeon? Scary. And cruel. But it is something that is necessary as well. I know that if we don't clear the dungeons once in a while, the monsters would leave it and come to the outside world. How about you? Aren't you scared? You're not a hunter, so you could die easily. If it were me, I would be too afraid to do it. I am used to it, so it's all right. Do you think I'll be like that too? Just think of it as preparing yourself early for something you will have to do later on anyway. You mean military service? Yes. If you become a hunter higher than a level 3, then by law you are to be drafted to the military. It was normal for hunters higher than level 3 to serve as national security instead of serving at the military. This was to keep the cost of hiring hunters low while still maintaining the country's safety. It was a win-win situation. While the hunter is placed in a comfortable station, they are asked to hunt once a week to keep the country safe. Well, if it's something I have to do anyway, isn't it the same if I just put it off for later? I guess you can think of it that way too. I nodded my head. We walked for a long time without saying a word. A negative thought kept niggling at the back of my mind. Is there something you're worried about? More than something I'm worried about, there is something that concerns me a bit. What is it? Well, I heard a bad rumor before coming in here, actually. Rumor? About Han Solo? Well, no. Never mind. I shook my head. Though I didn't know exactly what their relationship was, I couldn't go spewing nonsense I could regret later. I couldn't hang myself over something that wasn't even confirmed. Clang! 1 minute Kim Young-chul was looking at my face carefully, and the next he fell atop of me. Anyone could see that this was all a horrible act. Ah! What are you doing? Ow, ow, ow. I think I just sprained my leg and can no longer walk. It looked as if you fell on purpose. No. I just twisted it. I calmly stared at him. This little kid, was he doing this out of concern for me? I swear. Well. I guess now that I look at it more carefully, it does look a bit swollen. Yeah. So let's go back, all right? I smirked a little and crouched in front of him. Huh? What are you doing? This kid, I couldn't tell if he was smart or dumb. Tap 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 tap. I piggybacked Kim Young-chul and ran to the spot everyone was resting. It was already 20 minutes since we had left. If something had happened, it would have already been over before I could arrive. I could hear a bunch of people screaming at the top of their lungs. You let go right now. I'm going to kill him. Coo. Miss Porter. You're much too strong, no? Shit. Look at her breasts. Hey! Hold her properly. She keeps moving around. Ah, shit. I thought it couldn't be true, but it was. Shit. What I saw as soon as I arrived was Song Han Sol sitting on top of the girl porter who was squirming with all her might on the ground. The two other hunters were on either side of her, holding her arms down while making piggy grunting noises. Mr. Young was just in the corner observing everything while smoking a cigarette without a care in the world. What are you doing? I let Kim Young-chul on the ground before running toward the girl porter. Move! Damn. This bastard. Ruining everything. Song Han-sol got up. The other hunters moved away too. Judging from the situation, luckily I wasn't too late. Are you alright? Do I look alright? The girl responded with a quavering voice. Her face was covered in fresh bruises. Her lip was busted and blood was freely trickling out. I raised my head to stare daggers at Song Han-sol. What is the meaning of this? Song Han-sol was not looking at me. He looked at Kim Young-chul and said, Kim Young-chul, you piece of shit. Didn't I tell you to go around the dungeon? It took you just 20 minutes to go around the whole dungeon? Huh. I was going, but I hurt my leg. It looks fine to me. Ah, it hurts. It's swollen so I can't even walk on it right. He responded over hiccups. It was obvious to anyone that he was lying. And quite horribly too. Ah. Whatever. Young-chul, you go over there for a minute. Why? I said go. Song Han-sol was almost screeching now. Kim Young-chul squirmed a bit before walking towards Mr. Young. Mr. Young, take Young-chul and leave. Yes. Understood. I don't want to go. You want to die? What did I just say? You think I'm a chump? No, that's not it. Then what? Smack! Song Han-sol smacked the stalactites in front of him hard. They came off in pieces almost as big as his arm and fell to the ground of the cave. Mr. Young! Hurry up and take him and leave. Ah, yes. Yes, sir. And until I come out, don't come in here. Mr. Young took the resistant Young-chul and left the cave. I held the frightened girl and waited to see what would come next. It wasn't going to be good. If Kim Young-chul and Mr. Young were gone, there was no one to stop this crazed maniac. Ha! Song Han-sol gave a sigh as if he couldn't believe any of this was happening. The other idiot hunters were scared too, judging from the situation, and kept their mouths shut. Then finally Song Han-sol spoke. You. Shit. You're interesting. You know that? Schling. He had taken his sword out. Hey Jungbei. Yeah? Have you ever killed a person before? And, no. Let's do it today. Song Han-sol turned to see the two idiots' reactions before coming towards us. There was nowhere for us to go except closer to the wall behind us. Shit. Is this bastard serious? Sparkle. First things first, my eyes landed on the sparking golden bow as I searched around for a weapon of some kind. Kim Young-chul had left his Athena's bow in my backpack. This thoughtful little kid. Tap. I hurriedly ran toward it and grabbed it. What? As soon as pulled on the string of the bow, an arrow appeared. I'm pretty sure you already know how powerful this bow is. If you don't want to get hurt, we should just drop the whole thing right now. This bastard, if you don't want to die right now, you'll drop that bow. I'm not an idiot. I swallowed my non-existent spit and observed him to see what he would do next. Song Han-sol was fast. If I took my eyes off him for even a second, I was a goner. A small smile crept into the creep's face. Yeah? But whatever shall we do? I'm not an idiot either. What? That arrow. It doesn't kill people. Did you think I wouldn't know that? He knew it. Of course he knew. He was in the same party as the owner. So that's all you know? You don't know the rest then? What do you mean? You know how much this bow is worth, right? It's worth more than you'll ever see in your poverty-ridden lifetime, that's for sure. What do you think will happen if I die? I pulled out a small dagger from my pocket and put it next to my neck. It was something I usually pack with me just in case. If you die in a dungeon, then the item that you have, wait a minute. You're trying to hold that bow hostage? Correcto mundo. I know you could care less for my life, but this bow. If this bow disappears, then it's a big deal, right? Athena's bow was worth $20 million. You wouldn't do anything rash just because you were mad and risk throwing away $20 million, unless you were either crazy or retarded. I prayed to the gods that he wasn't that crazy. Or stupid. It was quiet. Park Jungabeth finally spoke. Hey. Let's drop it. Shit. There's no point in doing this here. We can beat the crap out of him outside or something. Yeah. There's no point in doing something and risk losing that bow. We're going to get our asses handed to us if we lose it. Shit. Shut up. Let me think. Tap. Song Hansol tapped his finger before making a nasty smile. I'm just saying, but that smile was the most disgusting looking one I've ever seen in all my life. No lie. I swear. What? Tap! That bastard moved so fast at that moment. I scooted back from surprise. But his aim wasn't to get me, but to get the girl porter who was collapsed there on the ground. Ack! What are you doing? She has nothing to do with any of this. Be quiet. Sua. It'll all be over soon. Song Hansol put his sword's blade to her neck and started to tease. Hyuk. Now. Your life or her life? Which one? What? Weren't you going to commit suicide anyway? If you're going to do it, then do the world a favor and do it. This bastard. There was about 5 meters of distance between Song Hansol and me. No matter how fast I moved, there was no way I could stop this psycho. No, I wouldn't even be able to shake off these two morons on either side of me to begin with. Then, just drop that bow and kill yourself. I'm telling you, now this is a fact, if you kill yourself while holding that bow, I will kill her for sure. Ah. Now what are you going to do? Don't make me laugh. If this bow disappears, we both know you're in for it. And if 2 porters die, you think it won't bite you in the ass? I'm sure it will. But so what? You think I'll go to prison over it? If 2 porters die, even if you are for money, you won't get away with it scot-free. It seems you don't know how things work. This is a dungeon. No matter who dies, it'll be hard to find out why. You could have died at the hands of a goblin. Who's to say otherwise? This piece of shit. Coo. Cuss all you want. You won't be able to cuss anymore in a short while. As soon as Song Hansol gestured with his chin, both gorillas started heading toward me. Then everything went dark. What the hell? Song Hansol looked around in bewilderment. Ah. I know what happened. The dungeon had reset. Wait. The dungeon reset? How is that possible? A dungeon can only reset when the entire party leaves. Roar. A sudden roar rung out in the darkness. It was a sound I'd heard before. Wait a minute. Thud. On the opposite side of the cave was a huge monster thudding about. I could make it out from the torchlight. It was a big monster over 3 meters tall. It was a similar class as the monster we had met a few hours ago. What is that? I don't know. It can't be a level 1 monster though, right? Song Hansol was breathing shallowly from fear. I couldn't figure out how and why that monster appeared here. But I can't say I hated it. I mean, could it get any worse from here? Creak. I pulled the bow. As soon as I did, a golden arrow appeared. Song Hansol stared at me with wide eyes. Ha ha. I liked that look on him. No. Yes. You shithead. Wing. I shot the arrow. Volume 1, Chapter 9. Thud. The arrow had hit the monster's shoulder. Athena's bow was a level 4 weapon. Though its damage points were not high because it had the option of not hurting humans, it should have been enough to at least hurt that monster. Ahk! The monster whipped its head around in this direction. At the same instant I threw the bow to Park Jung-bae. And that moron caught it. It seemed he didn't have the balls to drop something worth $20 million. What the hell? Shit! Koo-woo. The monster had its eyes fixed on Park Jung-bae. Not only was that arrow already shiny enough to draw attention, but having been hit by it, of course it would stare at the owner. Holding the bow in his hands, Park Jung-bae seemed at a loss for what to do, then he started walking to Song Hansol. Hansol? What do I do with this? I don't know. You bastard. Go away. Song Hansol glanced at the monster before slowly trying to get away. He probably knew that monster was not something he could handle with his level. Even with Mr. Young and Youngchul combined, they probably wouldn't be able to bring this beast down. Roar. Ack. Ah shit. Throw that shit to the ground and run. Do you know how much this is? Is it more important than your life? Just toss it. When the monster roared again, Song Hansol dashed away screaming at the top of his lungs. Park Jung-bae lost all his qualms about the expensive weapon and tossed it before running after his friend while also screaming aloud. But this was after the monster already fixed itself to Jung-bae. Stomp! 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 Ah! Shit! It's following us. You psychos! Stop following me! There's no other way except here. You bastard! Trying to get away by yourself. The monster was catching up rapidly with its enormous legs, and the three of them were running and cursing each other at the same time. Thanks, guys. Thanks for leading the monster away from me without me having to ask. Ha-ha. Young-soo was shivering with fear on the floor where the idiots had dropped her before running. I grabbed the bow from the floor and hooked it over my shoulder. Then went to grab her hand and help her up. Get up. There's no time to waste here. If those idiots get eaten, we're next. One moment, let me just pull myself together. She closed her eyes for a minute and took a few deep breaths before she slowly got up. Let's go. Are you all right? I think I'm a bit better now. I hope those bastards become monster food and die. Seems you recovered pretty fast. Ha! I can still feel my heart racing like a jackhammer. I might have gotten a trauma from all this. Might have. Thanks to you, I'm better than I might have been. Honestly, you were in more danger than I was. I guess. I nodded my head. It was all pretty crazy now that I think about it. How can you be so calm? I don't know. I guess maybe because I'd been in plenty of life and death situations before? Ah, is that so? I guess a porter's life is really dangerous. Ah, if I had known it would be like this, I wouldn't have done it. Why did I go through years of training for something like this? You know, I really tried hard to become a real porter. One day all your hard work will pay off. One day, sheesh. I hope so. She outstretched her arms for a moment before slowly walking ahead. It seemed she was physically trying to shrug off what had happened, and I took comfort in her resilience. What are you doing? Aren't you coming? As soon as we came out of the dungeon, we saw Yungchul and Mr. Jung waiting outside. I handed the bow over to the young lad and said, "That piece of Song Han Sol, what happened to him?" "I don't know. The dungeon got dark out of nowhere, so we ran out. Mr. Jung was just about to go back in, but you guys came out." "What happened? What happened to the other young masters?" "Who knows? Maybe they died. What does it have to do with me?" "How would I know? We didn't see them on the way out. Maybe they got eaten up." "No. I hope they got eaten up." Mr. Jung's eyes rolled back as he grabbed my collar. You killed them." "I should have." "What? This bastard." "Stop it!" Kim Youngchul came in between me and Mr. Jung. Mr. Jung couldn't do anything further but let go of my collar. Kim Youngchul spoke in my direction. "I know you don't want to say it, but a person's life might be at stake. Can you please tell us what happened?" While we were going at it, the dungeon got dark. At first, we thought the dungeon was reset, but it wasn't. Instead, a level 4 monster appeared out of nowhere. After that, I don't remember anything else honestly. I ran away with Suo while I figured they came out safely before us since they had run off ahead. Is that true? Mr. Jung's expression was desperate. He was worried about his pay. If something had actually happened to Song Hansol, then his life was probably over. In a way, you had to feel sorry for him too. In any case, did you report it? I asked Kim Youngchul. Yeah. They said they would arrive within 10 minutes, so they should be here any moment now. In a few minutes, a hunter wearing some expensive-looking armor arrived. He was probably in his mid-30s. I received a call about an incident at a dungeon. He spoke in Mr. Jung's direction. There were about 20 Lukilus and a bunch of civil servants running around as if they were chickens with their heads cut off. A level 4 monster has appeared inside. Please save our young masters. Please. Mr. Jung and I had spoken out at the same time. Something like this happened here too? I will take care of it, so don't worry. He spoke as he glanced at me. How did you know it was a level 4? I had run into a similar monster recently. When? About 5 hours ago. Is that so? Pretty impressive to see that you're still alive after running into a level 4 monster twice in one day. Oh yeah. I'm just saying this as a warning, but it might be best if you didn't go into a dungeon for a while. Can I ask why? Recently there have been a number of cases where monsters not within the dungeon's level have appeared. In just this country alone, there have been about several hundred victims due to such cases. Oh my! Something like this hasn't happened in decades. If this isn't an isolated case and keeps happening, then dungeons will no longer be a place people can go. I frowned at his words. This would mean a stop to all the dungeon exploration. And my job as a porter would be at risk. Only Song Han Sol and Park Jung-bae made it out alive. The other hunter was found dead with only a partial body recovered. I had hoped that Song Han Sol bastard would have died, but he was pretty fast, so I didn't expect it to happen that way. Kim Young-chul told me he would be my witness, so he told me to call if I needed him. But I knew what would happen. Song Han Sol would probably hire an attorney for a crapload of money. Even if I took out all my savings, all I had was $80,000 to my name. There was no way I could win a case against him. Even if I were to win, that would cause problems too. Who would use a porter that had won a case against a hunter? Young Soo probably thought the same. But there was an even bigger issue. All dungeon raids for leisure were paused due to this event until further notice. That meant I would have no means of income for over a month. I thought about going to a job market but tossed that idea. There wouldn't be a job suitable for a porter there. Phew. I blew out a sigh as I opened the drawer to my desk. I glanced at the skill book. If I sold this, I would probably be okay. A month ago, the day of the incident, I had put up the skill book at the hunter market right away. But it didn't sell, so I had to take it back down. The price I had put it up for was $10,000. I had thought it was a pretty cheap price, but there wasn't even one person willing to buy it. There were a few people who saw the level 0 and thought it was interesting. Some offered a few $100s. I could have sold it for that much, but I thought it was a waste, especially for a skill book. Even if it was only level 0, it was a skill book after all. On the other hand, they probably thought it was obvious to only sell it for a few hundred. Probably because most skill books weren't unique. There were usually a few of them laying around. For that reason, people usually knew what each skill book could do. But this one was one of a kind. There was no way anyone would pay $10,000 for a 0-level skill book that no one even knew what it could do. Volume 1, Chapter 10. What to do? There isn't anyone who wants to buy it. I thought maybe I should lower the price some more. If I thought rationally, it made sense. There was a person who had offered $3,000. That's a lot of money. But for a skill book, it was much too low. If someone learned this skill book and found out it had some amazing skill in it, then I would beat myself up too much. Should I try selling it at $5,000? No, I should get at least 6,000. Ring. A message came through on my cell. Because I had portered all throughout my school life, the only people who contacted me at this point was either my broker, family, or stupid telemarketers. There was a high probability that it would be a spam message. What are you doing? Only this message appeared on my phone. What is this? Is this some new kind of spam? A new number too. Who the hell texts a person who doesn't have their number in this weird way? A few minutes later the phone rang. It was the same number as the person who sent the message. Hello? Who is this? Do you remember me? Young Soo, the person who portered with you that last time. It's you. I had forgotten all about her. There was no time to think about her while I was running around doing this and that. Why are you calling? Let's meet. What's going on? I can't really say over the phone. If you can't say over the phone, then it's probably something you shouldn't say in person either. Just tell me right now. I don't know what she needed, but I didn't have the time to be on the phone with a girl like this. I had to get money somehow. That's why I was at this damn market. I was that desperate. Honestly, I didn't even have the money to pay for a cup of coffee. Ring. A picture message came through. Do you know how much the data cost for a picture message is? Just look at it. I promise you won't regret it. What kind of picture is it that has her so confident? I was pretty curious now, so I opened it. It was a picture of her holding a sword. I was about to think what the hell when I realized the sword she was holding was Song Hansel's bloody sword. What? Why are you holding that? Are you curious? Did you happen to pick up what he dropped? If that's the case, then return it now. Or else you're going to get in big trouble later. It was a pretty big crime if a porter steals a hunter's item. Even if you are caught one time, your career as a porter is over. So I was certainly surprised that this chick was doing just that. And taking selfies too. Why would I do that? I stole this. I can't really say anything if you say it that confidently. So, why are you showing me this? Aren't you going to ask me how I stole it? You probably stole it when he had it against your neck. He had a second sword of the same kind on his hip. I'm just impressed that you thought to steal it over all the chaos. I didn't steal it on purpose. I was just desperate to come out of that situation alive, so I... Then you should have returned it after it was all over. How would I return this? When my heart feels like it'll burst just from thinking of that bastard's face. And I won't even get paid for what I went through, I feel like this about covers it. You want to end your career? There hasn't been any work for the past month anyway. Isn't it the same for you? Well, I mean... Jesus Christ, lady. I'm about to kill myself over not having any money. So I was thinking, do you, by any chance, want to buy this from me? What? Are you asking me? To buy something stolen from you? Come on. I asked around and it turns out that there's a bunch of this. Even if you went around with it, no one would know that it was stolen. There's no way you'll get caught. This was tempting. Very tempting. Song Hansel was rescued from being chased by a monster. There was no way that he would even think that Yung Sua had stolen his sword. He would probably just assume he had dropped it somewhere while he was running for his life. If a dungeon resets, all the items still in the dungeon would disappear too, so he would most likely assume that it had disappeared in there. Almost safe to assume. Pretty safe to assume. So tempting. Shit. But if I come right out and express an interest, then it's obvious she's going to come out with some absurdly expensive price. It's better to kind of act uninterested in the first round. No. Even still, what use would a hunter-level weapon even do for a porter? Aren't you trying to be a hunter? How'd you know? I've been doing this for over a year now. I can tell just from looking at a person if they will always remain a porter till they die, or they are preparing themselves to become a hunter. TN, I have been translating everything for 10 times less than it should be. Please multiply all dollars before here by 10. Dollar translations should be accurate from now on. Carrot, sorry. Whatever. That thing you have is at least $400,000. I don't have that kind of money. Geez. I made a little prayer. She responded as if she was waiting for me to say just that. Well, it is stolen, I guess. I'll sell it for cheap. How much? 100,000. Are you retarded? Does $100,000 just grow out of your butt? You think it's that easy to come up with that much money? I guess I thought you would have at least saved up that much. You're poorer than I thought. There's a reason for everything. Then I'll give it to you if you pay in installments. Installments? Yeah. Deposit of $50,000 and then you can pay me $10,000 a month. At least until you pay me a total of $100,000. Too expensive. No. Let's just do $50,000 flat. Aren't you coming to me as a last resort after trying to sell it somewhere else first? I figured from before, but you're pretty sharp. Been a porter for 6 years now. You try doing it for that long and you'll be just like me. Anyway, what's your answer? Deposit $50,000 in 3 monthly installments of $10,000 for $80,000 total. This was obviously a steal. But that amount of money would clean me out completely. If I take this deal, I'd have to starve for the next month. Come on. I saved your damn life. Let's just do $50,000. Isn't that the least you can do for your savior? Shit. I knew you would do this. She was quiet over the phone for a long time. It was definitely something for her to think about. Selling the bloody sword at $50,000 was the same as asking me to sell my level 0 skill book at $1,000. If it were me, I would just hang up and say screw you. But to her, she had no use for a sword, so it might actually be not so bad a deal. Phew, alright. $50,000, but I want it cash then. If we go through a bank, it's going to be all sorts of annoying. There was no certainty that Song Hansol won't go looking for his bloody sword and maybe do a checkup on her and me. So it did make sense for us to do it by cash. It was safer. Okay. I'll give you the cash as soon as you give me the weapon. As soon as I hung up, I started jumping up and down in hurrahs. It's not that I don't know I won't be able to buy a skill book once I use up $50,000 for this bloody sword. But the bloody sword is at the least a level 2 weapon. It was way better than a level 1 skill book. If you just hit a level 1 monster with it, it was game over like that. Way better. Way. Right? Ha, to think, I'll only get 50,000. Young-soo made one sigh after another. I had met up with her at a nearby cafe to do our little exchange. She pushed a small bag toward me and I confirmed the bloody sword was in there. Be quiet. What if someone hears you? There's no one here anyway. That person working over there isn't a person? Why would he care what we're talking about? I guess you've never done a part-time job before. Cafe workers usually have sharp ears. They love listening to what others are talking about. I guess. She furtively glanced toward the worker before lowering her voice. Luckily, he was roasting some beans and couldn't hear us. Now, how about the money? What? I need to confirm if this is the real deal. How are you going to do that? Well, I took the bloody sword out of the small bag and cut my finger with it. As soon as the blood touched the blade, it soaked it up like a sponge. Looks legit to me. No trust. Where's the trust? This is $50,000. Of course I'm going to be thorough. Bam. I dropped the backpack I had brought out on top of the table. This bag had 500 $100 bills. She looked into the bag and asked me, "You're sure this is the right amount?" I might lie, but I would never scam someone. I'll trust you. Hey, it seems as if they're not going to let in any leisure parties for a while, so what are you planning to do? I'll probably apply to work for a general party. The real hunters. It's going to be super dangerous. You know, right? Just as the name implies, general parties are groups that do not go into dungeons for the fun of it. They go in for the sole purpose of attaining dropped items. These groups need porters as well to pick up and carry the items while they were busy with the monsters. Unfortunately, not only is the job extremely dangerous, but the pay is also pretty crappy. To make things worse, you're dealing with people who are constantly putting their lives in danger too, so tips are not to be expected. To put it into perspective, most of the porters who work in that area don't have their licenses or any special training. This is to show you just how bad our situations have gotten that we have to resort to this kind of work. That's why I need this money. I need it in case I get hurt. Wouldn't it just make more sense to wait it out until everything is back to normal? I don't know. I played around without working for a month. I feel like I'd go crazy if I had to stay jobless any longer. I guess. And it's not like things will get back to normal tomorrow either. Shrug. She quietly passed me her business card. It was pink with the words, "Available 24 hours, please ask for the beautiful Yung Sua" written across it. Just in case, I flipped it over and saw a picture. Ha! What a con! This picture was pretty much photoshopped to death. I casually compared the girl to the one in the picture and made a small sigh before asking, "Where's your conscience?" Money over conscience. Duh.